Welcome to Unearthly. Today we explore what makes a place a UFO hotspot. Did you know that UFOs almost set off World War III on October 4th, 1982? The UFOs popped up at a nuclear base in Soviet Ukraine and seized control of the launch system of the base. The missiles were then aimed at the US and were suddenly fired up. Launch control codes were somehow entered and the base was unable to stop what could have initiated World War III, said Colonel Boris Sokolov of the Russian army, who was interviewed by journalist George Knapp. But how were the codes entered? No one knows how the UFOs flying over the base pulled that off. But this dangerous stunt could have actually triggered World War III. So how did the Russians stop this? The Russians did nothing because they were completely powerless against the technologically advanced UFOs. It's only when the UFOs left that the launch control system went back to normal. Sokolov said that there were at least 45 incidents where Russian fighter jets clashed with UFOs. 3 of these incidents were deadly, with the jets crashing down and killing the pilots. It got so bad that the Russian Defense Ministry actually issued an ominous warning to its members never to engage with UFOs, as they may have incredible capacities for retaliation, as per Sokolov. So some parts of Russia are famous for UFOs, of which the most mysterious is probably Lake Baikal. Look how deep it is compared to major US lakes. It's the world's oldest, largest and deepest lake. It's so large that the local shamans call it a sea. And what lurks beneath the world's deepest lake? Here's a hint. Dozens of strange lights emerge from its icy depths quite often. Maybe an alien base is here? We now plunge into another icy lake, this time high in the Himalayas in Tibet. Near Mount Kailash, a mountain sacred to more than 1 billion people, including Buddhists, Hindus and the local Bons, is the freezing Lake Manasarovar. What's astonishing is that this lake was once a sea. Millions of years ago, it was part of the Tethys Sea and was thrust up here by the immense tectonic forces that form the Himalayas. Its freezing waters are favored by pilgrims who dip into the sacred lake. It's also popular with UFOs, which plunge into the lake only to emerge and take off hours later. Still, at over 15,000 feet above sea level, the lake is a bit of a hike for us humans to get to. You'll need peak fitness levels to get here, and another major issue is low oxygen levels. So, if you're looking for a more user-friendly and accessible UFO watching place, you might want to consider Wiltshire County in England. Wiltshire is known for its crop circles, which some researchers say are created by UFOs. Many orbs have been seen over the fields here immediately preceding crop circle formations. But then, a strange phenomena began to take hold of the town of Warminster in Wiltshire in the 1960s. That's when what's called the Warminster thing began showing up. Terrifying noises often preceded its arrival, such as giant hailstones battering one's roof. But usually, it was weird noises such as a hum and staticky sounds. Soon afterwards, UFOs like discs and orbs would zip through the sky. Wiltshire is most famous for Stonehenge, which is located on ley lines. UFOs tend to follow ley lines or magnetic lines of the Earth, according to some researchers. Overall, the UK is known for UFO sightings, whereas the next country may come as a surprise. It's Chile, with the town of San Clemente being a UFO favorite. In fact, the town had so many sightings that the government actually created a UFO trail in 2008. Could this be the UFO capital of the world? With around one sighting every week, it would seem so, and involves crafts such as fiery orange orbs and metal discs that often vanish into the Lake Colburn nearby. And keep watching because there's more. The UFO trail also includes the mysterious El Andradillado site, accessible by a tough but scenic 7-hour trek. This is actually a megalithic site and is located 2200 meters above sea level. Once you reach the top, you're rewarded by stunning vistas and maybe a UFO sighting if you're lucky. Over 200 large megaliths make up the top of this site, though skeptics argue that these were created by nature and not man. From San Clemente, we travel next door to Peru, which is famous for the Nazca lines that can only be seen from high in the sky. What's also intriguing about Peru is the recent discovery of skeletons, which some say are of NHI. In any case, Peru is a hotbed of strange phenomena, and one such place is Lake Titicaca, located high in the Andes mountain range. It's 3,800 meters above sea level and covers an area of 8,200 square kilometers and straddles both Peru and Bolivia. And guess what UNESCO has to say about this lake? According to them, the lake is thought to be 3 million years old. It also plays a central role in local creation myths. Local legends say that the sun arose from the lake, and so it's known as the birthplace of the sun. Interestingly, the largest island in the lake is called Isla del Sol, and it has the ruins of an ancient temple on it. Is it possible that a massive, fiery, orb-shaped UFO arose from the lake and that's how the creation myth began? After all, locals living by the lake, both in Peru and Bolivia, speak about misty lights emerging from the lake. The ancient site of Tiwanaku nearby in Bolivia is likely tied to this legend and includes the Gateway of the Sun. But first, let's explore Brazil, another South American country that's loved by UFOs. On November 21st, 2023, a Brazilian pilot flying near Fortaleza city witnessed a UFO. It was a shiny cigar-shaped craft about 40 meters long and vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. But then, Brazil has a long history of UFO sightings going back decades. In 1954, passengers aboard a commercial plane were terrorized by a UFO that pursued their plane at insane speeds. Strangely, the shiny craft did not show up on the radar. But the most famous UFO case in Brazil is without doubt the Varginha case. On the afternoon of Jan 20th, 1996, 3 young women in Varginha were taking a shortcut through a parking lot when they chanced upon something horrifying. A brown-skinned, bipedal creature about 5 feet tall with an oversized head full of bumpy protrusions. Its eyes were massive red spheres, and if that's not weird enough, the girls described its skin as looking oily. One thing was clear, the creature seemed to be in serious trouble, finding it hard to walk. The girls, though, did not wait to find out what the matter was and took to their feet in the opposite direction. But the girls did not think it was an alien. So what did they make of it? Take a guess. It had reddish skin, massive red eyes, bumps on the head, and even more bizarre, it reeked of sulfur. The girls were from a devout Catholic town, and so the terrified girls told their families that they'd seen the devil. The news spread like wildfire in the small town. Sometime later, 23-year-old police officer Maurice Cherez was driving his car when he saw the same creature dash across the road. You will not believe what happened next. Cherez got down from his car and began chasing the creature and actually grabbed hold of it with his bare hands. But it broke free and escaped. Early in the day, a few people claimed to have seen a strange metallic object moving erratically in the sky before crashing onto the earth. The whole area seemed to reek of sulfur. It was so bad that some people were forced to cover their noses. Within hours, the army stormed the town and cordoned off the area of the crash. No one was permitted to enter. The army remained in town for a few days, probably to hunt the creature down. The tight-knit town was abuzz with rumors about a strange creature prowling in the area and possibly linked to the unexplained deaths of some animals at the zoo. Bizarre tales were going around that spoke of the eventual capture of not just one but 2 such creatures. In the end, the army explained exactly what had happened. They said that what the women had seen was just a local boy who was both physically and mentally challenged and whose physical description matched the description of the being seen by the women. The 3 women, aged 14, 17 and 22, had seen the creature from less than 10 feet away. It seems a bit far-fetched to suggest that they mistook a boy for an ET. Why exactly was the area cordoned off if there was nothing there? But then something even more shocking was about to happen. Remember police officer Marco Cherez who tried to capture the ET? He said the creature's skin was oily and slimy, and this seemed to stick to his skin. Within days, his entire body broke out in a horrific rash and he passed away just weeks later. Next, we move on to the biggest mass UFO sighting in history, named after the city where it occurred, the Phoenix Lights. On the night of March 13, 1997, thousands of people in the city of Phoenix in Arizona saw a mysterious V-shaped craft with lights. It was massive, the size of several football fields. And here's what's weird. Most witnesses said they didn't see the actual craft. They could only see what seemed like the outline of the massive craft, blocking out all the stars within the outline. This was on an otherwise clear night. Just before this, some people said they saw a fireball zoom through the night sky. The phones in the local police stations began ringing off the hook as dozens of calls came in from concerned witnesses asking the police to explain what the craft was. Reports of the object came in from an area of over 300 miles, all the way from Nevada to Phoenix until Tucson in Arizona. The military claimed it was just a bunch of flares, but then many people had seen it flying as low as 20 feet above them, so it's unlikely that they mistook flares for this. Also, people hundreds of miles apart reported the craft as having the exact same shape. Arizona is also where the famous case of Travis Walton occurred. The next hotspot is a place where UFOs were seen so often that a woman joked about building a watchtower just to see them. And guess what? She actually did. In May 2000, US cattle rancher Judy Massoline was facing bankruptcy. Given the sheer number of UFO fans who were camping on a 600-acre ranch without permission, she sought a way out of her troubles by building a watchtower with outstanding views of the night sky. She began promoting the ranch, located in the scenic San Luis Valley of Colorado, as a fantastic place to spot UFOs. Tourists loved this idea, and she was soon getting 75 visitors a day. And the best part is that this turned out to be far more lucrative than her cattle ranch. To this day, the 80-year-old still welcomes visitors without charging an admission fee, and even opened a small shop where she sells UFO-themed stuff. She said she herself has seen UFO dozens of times, of which the most striking one was a large cigar-shaped craft. She also says that several people have told her that they could sense two powerful vortexes right by the watchtower. What's intriguing is that there have been newspaper reports about UFOs here dating all the way back to 1897. This brings us to the most famous UFO case in history. On the night of July 2nd, 1947, Roswell, New Mexico was enveloped in a huge thunderstorm. But apart from crackling thunder, several ranchers heard what sounded like a tremendous explosion. The next morning, ranch foreman Mark Brazel discovered unexplained debris, large chunks of metallic-looking wreckage strewn across several miles of the ranch. It seemed like some sort of aircraft had crashed at the site. Puzzled, he examined chunks of the debris. It was unlike anything he'd seen. It was light yet tough. Days later, he heard eyewitness accounts of people who'd seen a flying disc in the area that night, and quickly connected the dots. After alerting the authorities, he hauled some of the wreckage onto his truck and handed it over to intelligence officer Jesse Marcel at the local army base. On July 8th, the army issued a press release that sent shockwaves around the world, saying that they'd captured a flying saucer. The article explained how Major Marcel had received the wreckage from the rancher and then delivered it to Brigadier General Roger Ramey at the army base in Fort Worth, Texas. But then days later, something completely unexpected happened. Ramey held a press conference saying that the debris was not a UFO but a weather balloon which had crashed. Marcel was coerced into maintaining this as the official story. Meanwhile, the army scoured every inch of the ranch, picking up even the tiniest piece of debris they could find. Decades later, on his deathbed, Marcel confessed that there was more to this story. He described the strange nature of the material, saying that it couldn't be bent or dented. He was convinced that it was of unearthly origin. From here, we move next door to the state of Utah. Utah has always been a hotbed of paranormal activity, and Skinwalker Ranch in Utah County has become famous thanks to a TV show. A range of unexplained things, from UFOs to areas with electromagnetic oddities, are prevalent here, and include the sighting of bizarre creatures like the Wendigo. While many people do not take the place seriously, Native American folklore dating back to hundreds of years considers the ranch and surrounding areas as brimming with supernatural phenomena. In fact, all of Utah, along with the three previous areas discussed in this video, New Mexico, Arizona, and Colorado, comprise what's known as the Four Corner States. In Native American legends, these are the states where the four sacred mountains are located, which are tied to their creation myths and have always been full of high strangeness. These four sacred mountains of the Navajo are along the boundaries of the Navajo Nation. According to their beliefs, each mountain is tied to a specific direction and color, with the four mountains together making up the four cardinal directions. Does this ring a bell to those who watched a previous video about Mount Kailash? Each side of Mount Kailash faces a cardinal direction and is also linked to a specific color. So once again, we have a sacred mountain linked to creation myths and also to UFOs. And the Four Corner States are perfect for sighting UFOs because of their vast expanse of open land free of light pollution. Though when it comes to UFOs, it's not just the Four Corner States. Did you know that a study done by the University of Utah shows that the American West is the best place to see UFOs? So if you want to see UFOs in the US, head west. And guess which state tops the list for the highest UFO sightings? It's California, with 10,333 sightings in 2022. Now we come to the small town of Bonnybridge in Scotland, UK, which has only 6,000 residents. What's surprising is that this sleepy little town and area around it, which comprise the Falkirk Triangle, account for about 300 UFO sightings every year. One of the most famous sightings occurred in 1992 when a local man, James Walker, was driving along a small country road. His trip was stalled by an unknown object that popped up in front of his car, a large, shining craft floating in the air. Luckily, the object zoomed off into the sky, leaving behind a shaken yet relieved man. After this, other residents came forward with similar stories, many of which occurred while they were driving. But the most terrifying UFO encounter in Scotland is the Deshman Woods incident, which occurred on the morning of 9 November 1979. On that day, Robert Taylor, a forestry worker, was walking in the woods to check fences as part of his job. He was at a clearing when he suddenly noticed a dome-shaped metallic object that was about 12 feet high and around 20 feet in diameter. It was hanging absolutely still in midair. The object swooped to the ground, and what happened next is right out of a nightmare. Taylor said that two small spheres with spikes burst out from the craft and began rushing towards him. He tried to escape, but the spheres grabbed hold of his trousers and began dragging him towards the large sphere. Taylor passed out and woke up about 20 minutes later to discover that his trousers were torn. He was back in the same spot and the craft had vanished. He managed to walk home, but he was so shaken up by the incident that his wife called the police, who actually investigated the site right away. The police discovered unusual marks on the ground, including 32 holes of 3.5 inches in diameter each. Police detective Ian Walk said it was clear that an object from the sky had landed there, as there were no tracks or marks leading from or away from the object. The official police report concluded that an object of several tons had stood there, but there was nothing to show that it had been driven or towed there. In 2018, a UFO trail leading to the area where Taylor was snatched by the object was opened up. Believe it or not, but the world's #1 place to spot UFOs is a small, remote mountain town in Japan. The tiny town of Ino lies in the heart of Fukushima district, known for the nuclear accident caused by the deadly tsunami in March 2011. The result? Half the residents fled the town, never to return. But unearthly visitors still keep popping in quite often. In fact, 452 UFO sightings were reported from this town in 2022. Ino lies right next to the 1500-foot high mountain Senganmori, which is quite enigmatic. Its striking pyramid shape has inspired many conspiracy theories, as some believe that it's not a real mountain but a pyramid. And if that's not enough, strange megaliths abound on the mountain, of which one resembles an Easter Island moai and another resembles a sphinx. And to make it even more crazy, certain spots on the mountain drive compasses haywire, probably indicating electromagnetic anomalies, and then there are old relics from its ancient past, pottery resembling what some claim depicts ETs. But then, the town has been a hotspot of unexplained phenomena for hundreds of years. Whereas once this phenomena was thought to be caused by spirits, nowadays the understanding among the locals is that they are the result of alien activity. In 1972, 25-year-old Togio Kinoshita saw a strange craft in the mountains. From that moment on, he made it his life's mission to document and research UFOs. In 1992, the UFO-shaped Furyakan Museum was set up and has a collection of around 5,000 UFO-related documents and artifacts, of which 3,000 were donated by Kenichi Arai, the founder of the Flying Saucer Association of Japan. Believe it or not, but about 1,000 of these are said to be classified CIA documents about UFOs. Later on, the UFO lab was also set up in Ino. According to Togio Kinoshita, UFO sightings are highest within a 40-kilometer radius of Mount Senganmori. In fact, in 1977, a local man saw not just one, but a whole fleet of UFOs directly over this mountain. So once again, we see the strange connection between mountains and UFOs, from the Four Corners area to Japan and even Tibet. And what's intriguing is, just like Senganmori, Mount Kailash is also known for its pyramid shape. In fact, Mount Kailash is full of strange anomalies, and a previous video talks about this in detail. Did you know that there have been countless sightings of UFOs near nuclear missiles? So UFOs are definitely drawn to nuclear sites. And isn't it intriguing that all the lakes discussed here, including Lake Baikal, Titicaca and Manasarovar, are millions of years old? And all three lakes are tied to local creation myths. Why are so many lakes and seas linked to UFOs? A previous video takes a deep dive into this. Please click on the link here if you'd like to watch. Please subscribe, share and like if you found this video informative. Thanks for watching.